Welcome to Neurotic Podcast, the Internet Computer Podcast with Jesse and Kyle. This is episode 9. Happy Cinco de Mayo, Kyle.
It's Cinco de Mayo. Woo!
Kyle, are you minting some taco NFTs for Cinco de Mayo? How are you observing Cinco de
Yeah,
Mayo?
if I'm a little distracted, it's because I'm sitting here one at a time minting on the whitelist.
So
So
yeah, so just you our listeners are listening to this in the future, but Kyle and I were in the past, and where we are, it's Cinco de Mayo, and the mint has been open for just a little bit over an hour. Kyle, what kind of data analysis can you run on this NFT collection for me here?
it it's hot. That's the bottom line.
So yeah, so we're minting our whitelists right now to people that were signed up and active in the community and are getting a 20% discount. And then we're throwing the doors open to the public on Friday, May 6th. And so by the time this comes out, we'll be open to the public. I'm really excited. The feedback has been super positive. We have so much art. We have so much art with all these really cool homages to different aspects of the ICP community. And I'm just so stoked to people to see it. I really wanted that like surprise and delight of like opening a present and seeing what you get with these different NFTs.
I have I've minted a few, and I'm just really impressed that there's not really many duplicates. Like, clearly all your attributes are more or less like more rare, that you're not going to have a lot of similar looking tacos. So well done to you, well done to Taco Saito.
Just under 200 original assets spread across 7 different categories, and so they can be mixed and matched a lot of different ways. But we have, there's like 60 plus individual sides alone. And so yeah, there's a lot of different combinations. But so Kyle, you showed me a couple of the ones you minted, but you've got some rares in there, but you did not mint the rare that I made special for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
so
thought so the whitelist didn't get me that one, huh?
you
All
know,
right, you wanna
every
send it to me?
everything's random. So one of my favorite things about this project was I wanted to honor a bunch of other projects that are on the ICP system. So we redrew a ton of stuff as pinatas. And so there's a
Yep.
Bob NFT pinata, there's a Maximalist Network pinata, there is a Crypto is Good pinata,
Ooh,
there is an IC Pixie pinata, there's a Pokebot pinata, there's an IC8 pinata. But for you, Kyle, for you, I made something really
let's see
special.
this.
So this is live. This
I
is
like the
live on the
original.
air. Kyle has never seen this. Kyle, tell me what you're looking at here.
Alright, I'm looking at a green field. So the taco's sitting in the grass. What is it? It looks like green beans. Although I'm
That's
sure
the grass. That's a grass background. So Miguel actually drew all of that grass to create that
that's
pattern.
crazy. What is the meat of the taco?
The one you're looking at here is the nopales. So that's a cactus
Oh, that's right.
vegetarian
Okay.
taco
Okay.
with verde. But
Okay.
tell me about the
The taco
side.
doesn't matter. Honestly, the taco doesn't matter. I got an original. This is like the original iPod, right? The one with the little wheel that you spin with your finger,
Hmm.
and it is playing the Neurotic podcast.
It's adorable. You look so cute in there, all hand drawn.
I'm zooming in now. I want to see. We got. It says Jason and Kyle.
It does say Jason and Kyle. What happened here?
This is true. This is
What
truly live.
happened? I do like that
Jason
it's
and Kyle discuss the internet
How
computer.
did he get my name wrong and your name right? It's attention to detail that really matters here. Well,
Oh,
that's what makes it rare. I
had you
do
not had you not looked at it yet,
I
or
looked at it,
are
but I
you
did not look this closely, as it turns
you got
out.
to zoom in? Yeah, if you zoom in, it says Jason and Kyle, which is funny because like I have my best friend from high school. His name is Jason, so maybe
I
this is
guess you'll start
predicting
a
the future.
podcast with So what's in the future? Jason and your wife will be hosting this
Jason, my
podcast
wife.
when you and I retire to our private island with our staked
With
ICP.
it. No, that's funny. It's awesome though because it's got the little podcast art from IC Pixie. It's got. I mean, I love the fact that it's the original iPod. Like, I haven't seen one of those in so long.
Well, since you and I like to argue about Apple stuff, I thought you would appreciate
I do.
throwing a little extra Apple swag in there when you weren't expecting it. And then, I also like that the podcast is almost 2 hours long in the example that he put on there, so
Yeah.
it's true to form.
He underestimated how long we talk, honestly.
Well, speaking of shilling NFTs, I'm not the only podcast host around these parts out here hawking some NFT wares. I got an email from ICP Analysis about a very special new NFT project that's coming out. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so, if I zoom back, so I guess let me give you the context behind it. I mean, I think it probably won't surprise many people, but I would really like to make the internet computer my living, the way I support my family. And I think I've gotten to the point where I can at least start exploring different ways to see if there's a market for my talents within the internet computer community. So my first try, I should say, or maybe my first idea is to take the ICP analysis report, that Substack that I do. The supply, demand, price articles are always the most popular ones. I can see through the metrics; it's pretty clear. And honestly, I think that they probably contain a decent amount of alpha that anyone who's really heavily invested in this, in either the internet computer or even the ICP token, maybe they'd be interested in getting even more information. And so the NFT, it's going to be sold on May 10th on Crowdfund NFT. You can use basically it's one function, and that's to get you into a portal on Discover where I'm going to post all my supply, demand, price content. And it's really a two-way street, right? So that's one. So there's two things I wanted. I wanted to be able to open up the conversation more. Substack is basically me just saying, here's some information, and then you can read it, but there's not a lot of back and forth dialogue. I want to do that. I want to get some more so you can ask questions, understand some context, maybe give some like leading questions to more analysis I can do. But then also I wanted to basically have a product completely on the internet computer, right? So crowdfund NFT, completely hosted on the IC. Discover, obviously, completely hosted on the IC. It's an IC solution to really try to create a product for the IC community. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
I'm excited. All right, did you say the price?
39 ICP. That gets you. That
That's
gets
a
you.
lot of tacos.
It's what is that? 78 tacos to be exact. Public. So and here's the other thing is it gets you 6-month access to the Discover portal, or really what I should say is access through 2022. So if it sells out, I'll obviously open up the portal and we'll do June. It might end up being 7 months or something depending on how quickly they sell. Um, I put in my FAQ that I'm really signaling that I'm planning on selling another NFT in 6 months. That's the reason why it's gated for 6 months. But really thinking of it as something that maybe can generate revenue. Again, going to hopefully encourage me to go full time, I guess, or to support me going full time on the internet computer.
All right, I got questions here. So
Sure.
now that all the good stuff is going to be behind this NFT gate, does that mean no more price analysis in your Substack or on this podcast? Will you refuse to talk to me about price analysis now because you got to pay for that extra
I
good
can't
stuff?
I can't I can't even answer that question, Jesse, because it's price related.
It's
No,
gated.
no. So here's the way I think about it. Like I do intend for this portal to be really highly value add. And obviously if I'm putting the same stuff out in my Substack as I am in the portal, then there's not a lot of value in the portal. Other than maybe the two-way conversation. So the Substack, I think I'm still planning on doing the Substack. I still may touch on supply, demand, and maybe price, but it's going to be either time delayed or it's not going to be as detailed. It's certainly not going to open up like again the portal. I really want it to be a two-way conversation. And then on this podcast, we're going to drop alpha no matter what because that's what we do. And honestly, I don't see my role in the internet computer just to be supply, demand, and price. And so therefore, if I take that away, then I have no value outside of that. I mean, I really do think I can probably touch on different topics um, that are outside those three things.
All right, tell me about the art on this NFT. Tell me what kind of crispy hand drawn art can I expect?
There is a beautiful logo that took me probably 5 minutes to create on Canva, and that is the art. There is no art. It's not an art project. It may. So I'm trying to toy around with some ideas for what happens after the 6 months. Because what I don't want is for this to be an NFT that has value today and slowly goes to zero over 6 months. I want there to be some value at the end of that 6 months as well. So that might end up being some like there could be like a conversion NFT where you get art at the end of it. I really want it to be a utility NFT even beyond the 6 months to where you're getting access to other stuff. So I'm kind of looking at different options and partnerships.
Ooh, I just had a good idea for it, actually.
Ooh,
I just had a
what's that?
really I like this idea. Well, so you wanna have the NFT after the content access portion of it has been spent. It will then be an NFT that is highly limited, right? Super, super low number, and they'll be coming out in generations. So you could set up a system where you burn the spent NFT, and it generates
Mm,
some new, more art-focused NFT or some sort of other NFT with its own unique functionality. Similar to how like IC Bucks had the wallets and then you burn that and you
yeah.
get that. So
Ooh,
you get this like spent husk of a shell because after all the content that that's which is the real thing, right? That's what you're really selling. The NFT,
right.
you're using the NFT as a tool. And I like this. I love it's a evolutionary quirk that we use NFTs to track pictures of apes, right? It's just
Mhm.
sort of coincidence because
An
all it really
evolutionary
is a
quirk.
proof of purchase.
Yeah,
And so you're using it, in much more, it's a key to a community, it's on the blockchain, dog fooding the whole thing. But you could, after you've got the spent access token, you could burn that to create some new thing that is separate in some way. And maybe that's what lives on the secondary market, and those
yeah,
could be unique or those could be art driven. And hey, you get 6 months to figure out that part of it too, I guess now. So it gives you some time. All right, I have
yeah,
more I
yeah.
have more questions here.
Okay.
Uh, when whitelist,
There's no whitelist.
how many memes do I have to drop to get airdropped on this collection?
What's too many?
I mean, that's usually the number I like to post when I post memes. When
Is that
it's too
too
many.
many? Too many. Yeah, Jesse, because you created the portal for me, since you had a lot of discover
Sweet,
points.
sweet internet, fake internet points. Yeah,
Yeah, so you're actually already in the portal.
excellent.
So
Ooh,
there's no whitelist needed for you, no airdrop needed for you.
all right, all right. I'm selling my NFT access to Kyle's portal. If anyone wants to bid, hit me up on Twitter, and we'll
Your
make a little
admin
money here.
access.
Excellent. And then the explicit idea here is you are providing, a level of detailed analysis of the market and the token that
Mhm.
isn't really available anywhere else. And this is aimed at investors. This is aimed at people that are making a living, help them provide sort of it's more of an industry newsletter, if you will, than an enthusiast newsletter. Is that a good way to think of it?
Yeah, yeah, and actually that is a really good way when you divide out like what the Substack may become. Most people really don't need the detailed anyways. They just kind of want to know like the warm and fuzzy of what's going on. So that could actually be a good point. And I'm selling. I mean, I say it in my FAQs like, how do you come up with the 39 ICP? I did a little bit of back of the envelope math and figure out that there's like 900 people who are going to probably sell more than 4,000 ICP over the next 6 months. So in my mind, it's like, okay, that I'm coming in at less than a 1% um, fee for all this good information. And within like the investing world, that would be silly cheap. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm coming in at it.
You've convinced me you should be raising the price,
I,
from the current
I
level.
I had that thought actually earlier today when I was eating lunch. I was like, maybe I should have gone higher, but no, I'm happy. I mean, again, the idea is, does can I make a living off of this? And so the at the price of 39 ICP, that's going to give me a really good data point. Plus, whatever it does after the market, that's going to give me a really good data point of whether or not I can make a living doing this. So.
Excellent. Well, I think this is a cool experiment, and obviously, I selfishly want you to quit your job and work on the internet computer full time because, yeah, I'm just here to sweep up any alpha you're willing to drop on this podcast. So, all right. Well, I think it's time for us to get back on our regularly scheduled beat of topics. What's going on with NNS governance? For this week, I wanted to do something a little different. But let's kick off with maybe like a give me like the 2-minute update of sort of what's going on in the world of NNS governance today.
Well, there's not really much to update from the last week. We did the Twitter space yesterday. I think that's probably the newest information. It was myself, Lightning Lad, you, Jesse, and then Daniel from Crypto is Good. Um, and really, I think we're waiting for Dfinity to act on the. I shouldn't say act on, to really deploy something or give some guidance on the past proposals for resetting neurons. Um, and I mentioned in the Twitter space, hey, now's actually we've generated so many good ideas in the last few weeks. Maybe now's the time to really sit back and think holistically and think of it as like a software version upgrade. And so, what do we want to do for like the next iteration, and maybe come together as a community for like a holistic approach to version 1.1 of the NNS.
I like this sort of step back and think about the big picture like approach that it's sort of evolving into, right? As the absolute, fire, we got to put out this issue today goes away, it
Right.
becomes how do we build something lasting? How do we build something that has, real structure into the future?
Yeah. 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 And I mean, just how my feelings towards the NNS in terms of like how it should operate, what it should do, has really evolved, I guess. And maybe actually now I'm sitting back going like, hey, actually maybe I'm not as strongly convicted as I was before on any kind of solution, and a lot more open minded to where we should go from here.
Well, admitting that you've changed your mind obviously is illegal on Twitter, and you're not allowed to say that sort of thing. But
Yes,
we're
I'll
not
never
on
admit it.
Twitter. This is a
Yeah.
podcast. And so I actually really wanted to kind of dig into this just a little bit with you. Like, to walk me through, you sort of had one opinion, and as all these things have happened, you've been DMing with me about how much you have found your own perspective has changed. And I kind of want to understand, not necessarily, oh, I think this idea is really good. I think this idea is really good, but sort of walk me through how the experience of having your whole perspective on what you think a good outcome has really shifted. And,
Mhm.
sort of open up. I want to see how the gears turn inside Kyle's head for these sorts of decisions.
I mean, in terms of how the gears turn, I think it's just like anyone else's head. In term, like you gather new information, it makes you question previous beliefs. Sometimes you get too caught up in the here and now, and you form strong beliefs on the here and now, and then when you actually take a step back and you think, oh, actually, what I thought was important is not as important. But I think like a good example of this is probably the idea behind passive versus active participants. And so, my opinion 3 4 weeks ago was Dfinity was very clear. This is a governance token. It's a governance system. Everyone who is staking should be interested in governance, and we really need to be enforcing things so that people are only active participants. And I think my thinking has more evolved to where it's clear that we're not that there is a passive. And when I say passive, I mean literally somebody wants to stake it. They're not interested in following governance. They're not interested in voting. They really are just looking for the return. Um, or maybe their involvement in governance is they think it's cool, but for the most part they don't want to like do too much work on it. And so those passive people, there's clearly a good percentage of those people within the NNS. There will always be a good percentage of people until maybe there's other staking options that become really well known, and maybe we want to encourage that. I thought that was so in my mind. Too much passivity is one um, failure mode for the NNS. But now that I'm thinking about it, that's still a risk. But having a sideline of passive investors who could come off the sideline at any time is actually a pretty powerful threat deterrent, because um, you know if you think back to, let's say, like back in October, when participation in governance was like 3 or 5% of total voting power. If like a Facebook decided, you know what, internet computer is a threat, because I guarantee you one day Facebook's going to think the internet computer is a threat. So if they had thought that back last year, they could have sat down and said, hey, look, we can buy 5% of the voting power for, I don't know, let's say it's $100 million. That's nothing for them to take out a threat. And so we were in a position there. But if you have this big pool of voting power and doing passive, in these passive investors, that is actually a pretty good deterrent because you can't predict whether or not that's going to come off the sideline in defense of the internet computer. So, anyways, that's probably a good example of the evolution of my thinking.
I love it. I think, I wish more people were sort of, I'm taking in evidence and things are changing and the stake in the ground doesn't have to be so it doesn't have to be so permanent. That
Yeah.
the goal, sort of the North Star we're all heading to is we want the internet computer to host the future of the internet. And
Hmm.
the actual particulars of that, I'm so much less interested in. I'm interested in how do we get there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like there's so many smart people creating proposals, working on the NNS, and I really enjoy getting down in the weeds and in these chat spaces and the Telegram rooms and the Discord channels, as people actually debate these ideas. It's kind of like the Socratic ideal of what, we're talking about the ideas, not,
Hmm.
who's right, political power, things like that. There's no one trying to get reelected. There isn't, the money is the giant pool of money we're all trying to make worth more, as
Hmm.
opposed to, oh, if this, resolution passes, then my little corner of this thing goes well. And it really
Right.
unifies the community. And I love that it's, in a lot of ways, it's a real meritocracy, which is so rare in this world.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually that's a good point of, just to rehash that. If you're in the last few weeks you've been like, "Oh, this is great that we're, let me maximize the amount of the pie that I'm getting on these rewards." You're missing the bigger picture, which is if you grow the pie, you can get exponential growth in your investment. If you try to grow your percentage of the pie, you're going to get just a linear growth at best. So that's probably a good key. So really, don't kill the goose laying the golden eggs, I guess is a
You know what? This alpha is too strong. Maybe this should be behind the paywall. I think this
oh
this is the
man.
good stuff.
All right, how long are you going to hold that against me?
Until you're so rich you retire from the podcast,
And then
I assume is the
just the whole
plan.
time. I do love our two projects, and I've been debating whether or not this like says anything about each of us. But like you went for the everyman's NFT, right? Tacos are everyman. You went at a price that everyone could afford, and I went the complete opposite way, where I was like, "Who's got a lot of money?"
Well, what I like about that is both of us looked at here is sort of the existing NFT space as it is right now. Let's get outside of that. Let's push against the
Yeah,
boundaries. And so both of us picked opposite sides of the boundary wall to push against and try and expand it, which
yeah,
I think, I like that. I think none of these projects, I just don't want boring projects. I want exciting projects. I want projects that I am stoked on. And so actually that's a perfect little segue here. I've got a little segment for our show here we're calling Neurotic Quickies. We've just got a whole bunch of news that we kind of wanted to rapid fire go through, talk about a little bit and cover what's going on this week. So let's start out with happy anniversary, Kyle. Did you
yeah.
did you forget that it was
No, I got you a gift. What'd
you
you get
got me a
me?
gift? What'd you get me?
Well, first you show me what you got me.
Well, what is traditional for the first
The first,
anniversary of is it titanium or mercury? I forget what tin, what
I
wood,
was,
what
yeah,
metal are we supposed to give for a
I
first
think it's
anniversary?
rubber or
Rubber?
latex.
Paper.
Paper.
Paper is the answer. Paper is the
All right.
traditional answer for a first anniversary. Well, I'm going to paper over this question, and so it is the 1 year anniversary of the launch of Genesis.
Yeah, May 10th, 2021 was the launch. So when this podcast comes out, that'll just be 3 days and a few hours away.
It feels like, they grow up so
So
fast.
they really do.
This time is so special, and I'm just really glad we got to spend it with our little baby subnet here.
I thought, feels like just yesterday we were changing diapers on the internet computer, and now it's going off to
Now we're
elementary
changing
school.
NNS
Now
proposals.
we're
Well, yeah, so it's actually, really you've been here since you were really involved with the ICP back when at that stage, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was really more a Bitcoiner back then.
Mhm.
But I mean, I remember when it launched on Coinbase. I saw that, and then I did a little bit of research that day. So maybe it was May 11th that I first actually became interested in the internet computer, but it was around that time.
Oh, I thought you were early. Never mind.
So yeah, well, no, no, no. I mean, there's people who are like 2018 early, right? I
That's
know
true.
Jordan
Yeah.
Last has been following it for 3 years or so.
But I think, it is so easy to just constantly feel like, where's this new feature? Where's this release? Where's Bitcoin integration? Where's ETH integration? Where's SNS? That it is very easy just to be so focused on what we want now that when I look back at where the IC was a year ago, it's staggering how much growth and how much change has taken place. Looking at we have a whole diversity of NFT marketplaces. We have a whole string of a whole ecosystem of different applications. All the different pieces I used to put the Taco NFTs together, none of that tooling existed a year ago. This is all new code. This is all new stuff that's been rolled out. And to me, it's super, super exciting. And I look at that acceleration of change and how much faster it's changing as we go. And it makes me feel like instead of waiting for when is this, when is this, when is this, it makes me go, oh my God, it's like whizzing by so fast as you step back, and time is meaningless, is I
Yeah.
guess what I'm trying to say.
I mean, so if you went back in time to let's say May 10th, 2021, you would basically still be 3 months, 4 months before the first NFT even drops on the internet computer, right?
Hmm.
And now look at where we're at. Somebody would say district, and you would say I've never heard that before, because I think it was called Can back then,
Hmm.
but it was really just a proof of concept that was, you know, basic functionality. And now you look at it, you look at Discover, right? It's that application's just blown up. We have Dex that's already, or AMM that's already gone live, and multiple Dexes on the deck. So yeah, I mean, you're right though, Jesse. Like, you do get, like, when you're in the here now, you're like, oh, like, can't we just get to Bitcoin integration? Why can't we get there? Let's get there quick. Hurry! And but then when you actually sit back and you look at it, you're like, holy crap! Like, our kids really grew up in the last year, kind of thing. I mean, one. Is your daughter one yet? She,
Yeah,
she's
she's at like 15,
15
15,
months.
16 months.
I mean, it's exactly that. If you go back and look at baby pictures, you know, for when she
Every
was 3 months.
day she wakes up and I go in and pull her out of her crib and say, "Is Bitcoin integration online yet?" And
And
she
she said,
says, "Dada" and
"Dada."
"dog," because those are the only 2 words she knows. But I should teach her the word DEX. I think that actually could fit inside of her current
Dex.
vocabulary. Yeah, I think she's ready to launch a token. She's there.
She's like, Dada. Bitcoin is for cold storage.
She
It's her
I
first
think she's
sentence.
I think she's trying to get my seed phrase is what's
Well,
happening,
yeah.
I think. Speaking of an exciting future for the internet computer, the Supernova Hackathon is just about to launch here in 5 days on May 10th.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited. Should be interesting to see what projects come out of that. I think it was July of last year when they last did the hackathon, and there were some really
Mhm.
cool projects that came out. So, what comes out? What was it? $6 million in prizes?
$6 million in prizes and grants. So, and the registration, I believe, is still open if you want to get in there. If you're a developer, either experienced in the internet computer or you are internet computer curious and a web developer, this is a great place to jump in. There are tons of learning resources. If you need to learn Rust or you want to learn Motoko, this is a great opportunity to add to those skills and get paid to do so. And it's so early that there's a real opportunity. If you are sitting on the next great idea for the internet computer, this is a really good opportunity to test it out, try it out, make a little money, and get your feet wet in the ecosystem.
Yeah, I saw the email from Dfinity came out today, 6 p.m. on May 10th. They're going to have their kickoff, right? And it's going to feature, you have Olaf Carlson Wee, right? He was Coinbase employee number 2, and he's from Polychain. Ryan Selkis, and a few other people that I'm just really looking for. Like, it's kind of nice that it's finally the internet. It kind of feels like the internet computer is getting the recognition it needs. This hackathon's a big deal, and it's being recognized within the crypto community as a big deal. So
Now I threw up a suggestion for how to create the next big breakout app. You wanna know the secret? Do you wanna
Yeah,
know the
I
secret,
saw
Kyle?
this.
Are you
Yeah,
ready?
yeah.
It is come up with a really good idea, start working on it, develop some internal tooling to help you work on it and develop better, throw out the project you're doing, take your internal tool, and that's your new project. And that is the origin story of Twitter. That is the origin story of Slack.
Slack.
It
Yep.
is the story of developers that create things for themselves that are actually useful and then realize that this solves a broader problem.
I love.
And
Yeah, I love the Butterfield. What is this? Stuart Butterfield,
Stuart
right? His
Butterfield, yeah,
store.
who also founded Flickr as well. So he's,
Yeah,
serial entrepreneur who's been at it for a long time, and I'm happy for the guy to have been so successful. I love because I mean, I love Flickr back in the day.
yeah.
I mean, people don't really totally understand that Flickr invented so much of what we take for granted as internet culture. So, using, at username with the ampersand or not ampersand,
Hmm.
the,
At
what's that
sign.
thing? The at sim. Does it have a name besides at?
I call
The
it the at
internet?
sign.
The at sign, yeah. So, the using the at sign and tagging a user. That came out of Flickr. Hashtags as a sorting mechanism came out of Flickr. A lot of sort of original Web 2 standards, came out of there. But yeah,
Yeah.
so with the hackathon, and then those projects are broken up into a couple different categories, and there's winners from first to fifth prize in all these different categories. So Web3, DeFi, NFT gaming and metaverse, decentralized social infrastructure, and social impact. And there's also a community choice one too. So again, I love how they just embrace the social impact, they embrace
Hmm.
the decentralized nature, the real community focus. It's exciting times. And then for you and I, as sort of people out there evangelizing the platform, there's going to be this huge wave of new software and new developers and just all this new stuff to build on. And so much of computer development is iterative, building on the shoulders of what other people are doing.
Hmm.
And so, I think we'll see projects taking, the new Azle TypeScript
Hmm.
ability. Again, new ways of getting developers into the system. I'm real excited to see what comes out of Supernova.
Yeah, yeah. Should be good. How long do we know how long it lasts for?
It's about a month, I believe.
Okay.
So it goes through June 20th. Yeah, a little over a month, 40 days.
Okay. Oof. It'll be cool.
It's a lot of programming. It's a lot of development time.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad someone else is doing all that work.
All right. Well, speaking of development time, uh, Bitcoin testnet. What's going on? You're a big Bitcoin boy. What is going on with Bitcoin integration, Kyle?
Well, I have a secret, Jesse. I no longer have any Bitcoin. I've converted it all over to ICP, and I managed to do so 12 hours before the ICP price dumped over the weekend. Right on Friday, it dumped, and just 12 hours before that is when I decided to make that change. So that was all fun. But no, um, I still love Bitcoin. It's still my baby, but I don't have any because it's just too the investment opportunity with ICP is just too strong right now, at least from where I sit. So you got to put your money where you, what does I forget who said it, but you got to bet on the when there's a race, you got to bet on the fastest horse, and that's gonna be ICP over the next
Wayne
year.
Gretzky said that.
That Michael Scott quoting
Michael
Wayne
Scott
Gretzky.
said that. Yeah.
That's just what every quote from now
It's
on. Every quote that we don't know it's just gonna be Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, you know how everyone just attributes everything to Mark Twain? That's what we
Mark,
do, but
yeah,
Wayne
but Wayne
Gretzky said
Gretzky.
that. Yeah, yeah. You'd be surprised how much Wayne Gretzky had to say about Web3. It's really surprising.
Oh man, Bitcoin testnet. Yeah, so we had a tweet from Menu Drivers saying that the testnet was live and it was starting to download blocks from the big Bitcoin blockchain. And so that's the first step, right? They're gonna set up the test net, and as long as everything goes smoothly, we should be seeing Bitcoin integration, shortly. I don't know, maybe weeks. We're talking now. We're probably in the scale of weeks instead of months, and soon we'll be down to days. So,
Yeah, my favorite factoid that sort of came out of this as a part of it, the ICP subnet that is running this canister sucked in the entire data set of the whole of the Bitcoin blockchain
mhm,
into ICP.
just into
And
the subnet.
yeah, just ate the whole thing right into the blob. And to me, it just is such a great example of the scalability.
Mhm.
of the internet computer, right? That it's interoperability and its ability to be this chain that is sort of willing to connect and work with everything. But the fact that it can Bitcoin is this massive behemoth, and ICP just swallowed that data set like it's nothing. And I just
Yeah.
think it really speaks to the extendability of the whole platform. And
Yeah.
yeah, I can't wait. And we're seeing projects that are kind of sort of sitting there at the starting gate, ready to go, like Finterest, that's going to be doing Bitcoin lending and liquidity pools. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, I wonder, like, I think within the community, we're very like, oh, once this goes live, automatically ICP goes through the roof. And that's probably not true because there's not really a lot of cases like that. Like Solana wasn't like they opened up the DeFi floodgates and all, they didn't have the DeFi summer because of something they did in the spring. It was, a year or two of really kind of development and trying to build that ecosystem out. And I wonder, I'm I don't know. I'm curious to see like this time next year when we're celebrating anniversary number 2, which is so it's not paper. It's going to be what do you get on your second anniversary? While you look at that, I'll you know if we'll be sitting here saying like, oh, that when is Bitcoin integration going to really make a dent into the ecosystem, or are we going to say like, holy cow, things were really gangbusters for the last year because of that integration, and maybe the Ethereum integration is even more powerful.
Second year traditional gift is cotton.
Cotton,
Cotton, cotton. It's surprising that they haven't named one of the major releases of, mercury, titanium, cotton, you
cotton's
know?
the feel good, soft and cozy. You wear it like a wool blanket kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a breathable fabric, which I think is good. I'm sure we could come up with a good analogy there.
It'll be the Dogecoin integration launch.
It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's
That's
see if it plays off.
great reference.
All right, next up on our neurotic quickies, we've got the Quark Testnet. Quark. Now that's I believe a type of German cheese. Is that what we're talking about here?
I believe so. Yeah.
Or the Ferengi?
Sure.
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 Not a big Star Trek boy.
Oh, so you're mixing the two things that I know nothing about, which is food and pop culture, and expecting me to know it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's I guess I mean, I hadn't set out to do it that way, but all right, so after we get your new NFT project, we'll do a more exclusive NFT project, and it's just content of me explaining
Yes.
the plot of different movies that you should have seen by now and TV shows.
You making references that just go over my head over and over again. And that one will be video so everyone can watch the dumb look on my face when you do.
Right, so there's this guy named Columbo, right? And he's a detective. All right, so Quark Testnet. I'm really excited about this. So this is a project from Departure Labs. They're coming up. They've got their testnet live, and it is. I think the best summary I've seen of it is like a Stripe interface for the internet computer. So it's a plug and play in order to handle moving money around to make that way easier in terms of interacting with the registers, as well as providing like a really standardized interface that will present to end users so that when you're doing an internet computer ICP transaction, you see that it shows you this is where it's coming from, this is where it's going, just sort of standardizing a bunch of that. And again, making it easier for developers to plug in and take advantage of the natural strengths of the system.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, maybe in a few years from now, people describe Stripe as the non-internet computer quirk, right? They'll be like, "Oh, what is Stripe? Oh, yeah, that's right."
All right, should we just keep plowing along in our neurotic quickies list here? You
Yeah.
got anything else to say about Quark?
No, no, job well done by Suddenly Hazel and the departure team.
Now, next we got a little newsletter. You got a someone stuck a Kyle newsletter in here. Burning is increasing. What is ICP is burning? What's happening?
Yeah, so burning is probably the greatest metric to look at for the growth of the ecosystem because developers have to burn ICP to pay for their hosting fees, right, for any computation. And we're seeing nice linear growth since December. I'm sure in the show notes they'll have a link to the article I put on the Substack, and it's really just showing that we're having linear growth. So essentially, what I do is I take the burning stats, I take Sonic out of it since they burn for a different purpose than computation, And then I also overlay the daily price of the USD price of ICP to get an idea of the exchange rate. And yeah, so you're seeing linear growth month after month since December, and I don't know, that's promising. And hopefully, we go from linear to exponential soon, or parabolic. Either one's fine.
Either way,
I'll take either one.
I'll settle for either. I like that. I like how flexible you are. You don't
Yeah,
wanna be
yeah.
too demanding.
No, no.
And then our last neurotic quickie, I like these. We'll have to do some more of these neurotic
Yeah, this is
quickies. These
good.
little bite size. I'm into it.
People
Little
are
little
listening to this and they're
taco
like, "It's
sized.
I've listened to 9 episodes for this. Why did it take you guys so long?"
Last one here is about how to create a decentralized community neuron. And this dovetails really nicely with some of the governance issues we were talking about. So I actually have I'd be curious to kind of talk through this a little bit. I've had a couple people approach me about if I'm going to start a neuron, if I would
Ooh,
like to be a part of another neuron. And so this provides instructions. It's a good outline of how the maximalist network works, and you are a voting member there. I kind of think of having a named neuron as a borderline wholly serious responsibility within the platform, and I'm not sure I'm ready for that kind of responsibility. I mean, I'm a father. I'm willing to vote for my own neuron, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to lead the way quite yet. And especially with the current system of if I miss a vote, people may be missing out on rewards, and that feels like a lot of pressure to me too.
yeah. So ICPMN, we do it where we have 12 voting members now, and so once a majority is reached on the voting, it automatically gets cast, which is nice because then there's some people on it who miss a vote or two, particularly with the spam. But yeah, no, I mean, I think one of the things that seems is pretty non-controversial within the community is the idea that we just need more named neurons, people willing to take on that work. It is work, it is responsibility, but I mean, it's how we decentralize. The link that you have here on decentralizing the what was it, distributing a neuron amongst multiple people. So it's just to point out, it's really about how neuron ownership could work, so that multiple people are required to do something like dissolve the neuron or change the voting. Right now, we don't have that in place on the ICPMN. It's essentially a neuron that was set up by Wenzel, so his internet identity controls it. So at any point, honestly, and this is probably one, like, the reason why we're getting this information out there is at any point Wenzel really could go in and be like, no, 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 nobody votes for ICPMN except for me now, or something like that, right? Yeah, I don't think he's going to do that. It's clear he hasn't done that, and he has no interest in doing that. But it is just a way that we can decentralize even more. So
I welcome our centralized Wenzel overlord to run things.
just
I think
just
I'm
in
on. I
case
think
he
I'm on.
becomes the president of all the world.
Yeah, well, obviously you're the mayor of the NNS, but we still have space for like a supreme commander of the NNS and some sort of governor, I believe, role,
Yeah,
sergeant at arms of the NNS, perhaps. I mean, there's a lot of different leadership
sergeant
opportunities.
of arms.
Kyle, let's do some recommendations.
Yeah. Wow. We're those quickies, man. It's
They were
we went through
quick,
this really
right?
quick.
We
Yeah.
blew right through them. Don't worry. We always if you're looking at this watching this podcast, you can look at your time remaining as we go. Yeah, short show,
Yeah.
short
Short
show.
show. They're like, little do we know how long we're gonna go.
I have another podcast I like where they tend to get longer over time, and people have actually done data. They've built charts that show like average episode length over time and show how it's increasing. And
Yeah.
there's like an ongoing joke that at the beginning, if someone says, "Yeah, this will be a quick show,"
Here's
that's your cue to check and see. Nope, over 2 hours
here's
left in this
yeah, here's the
podcast.
data on when you say that. I love when people do that with their own podcast in terms of like who's like speaking percentage time. I
Mm,
wonder if somebody
mm.
wants to do that for our podcast. That'd be interesting.
I might be able to. It's tough. People complain our voices are too similar, and I always
Uh
try to explain that Kyle's the one dropping alpha, and Jesse's the one being like, "Are you sure you don't want me to explain all 8 seasons of Star Trek Deep Space Nine right now? I got time. I can do it."
I think the community feedback has been Kyle's the boring one, but I feel like I should listen. Like you listen to a professor lecture, and then Jesse's the interesting one. So
I
that's how
don't
you can tell.
I don't know who's in your head with that negative feedback, but I strongly
It's
disagree.
you. It was
It's
you.
me. It's me. As soon as the mics go
That's
off, I'm like,
those
"Kyle, I need you
those
to be more entertaining."
those are all the DMs you keep sending me every day.
Am I gonna see, like, a screenshot of all the abusive DMs I'm sending you tomorrow?
My ego is so fragile.
Alright, so Kyle, I did something very exciting, this week.
What's that?
I went to a movie. Have you ever been
Ooh,
to a movie theater, Kyle? It is
I seem to remember them. Been a
it has
while.
been this is the 2nd movie theater I've set foot in since the beginning of the pandemic. My wife and I went and saw In the Heights in the theater,
Ooh,
the last during Hot Vac summer because it was, right after we were all cleared and before the new
before
variants had come
Delta.
out, and going to see, like, a big celebratory musical felt like a fun
Yeah,
fit.
that's the Lin-Manuel one, right?
Yep, yep. But I had a little time on my hands. I had a little private Jesse time away from the wife and kid this weekend, and I went and saw a movie, and it was the best. Kyle, I love movies. They're so much fun.
Well, what was this
So
one?
I went and saw a movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I'm almost a little teeny bit reluctant to recommend it to people because I feel like it was grown in a lab specifically for my tastes. And
Ah,
I love this movie so much, so enthusiastically that and it has been the response it's been out for like a few weeks now and the response has been overwhelmingly positive, like
okay.
critical. It's an indie movie, real small, sort of like Sundancey kind of movie, and it's doing really well. So when I describe this movie, it is going to sound made up, and I assure you it is not. So it is a multiverse kung fu adventure, let's say, um, starring Michelle Yao, who's incredible in it. She's the lead. Um, Jamie Lee Curtis is in it and plays one of the antagonist characters. And then the actor who played like Short Round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And he steals every scene he's in. So the cast is just incredible. So it is what if Michelle Gondry directed a live action Rick and Morty episode with a sprinkling of The Matrix and Kung Fu on top of it. That's and then some like Marvel multiverse kind of shenanigans. That's how I would describe this movie.
So basically, somebody was 3 trips deep into an acid weekend, and
Oh, it's the best.
and that's
It's
what they came out with?
Yeah, and so it is. We'll put a link to the trailer in there. It is just endless creativity. The creativity in this movie is just amazing, and they do this really incredible thing where they sort of introduce there's a lot of ideas based around likelihood and unlikely things happening is what creates this multiverse. And so they will suggest an unlikely idea and then take that idea via really cool kung fu fights
Mhm.
so much farther. And that's where that sort of Rick and Morty episode kind of like angle comes in, where someone will be like, well, I don't want to give anything away, but what if there was a universe where such and such happened? And then you go to that universe and then you get there and you become emotionally attached to what is happening to the characters in this just completely banana pants world. And it is off its rocker. It is so creative. It is so interesting, and it recontextualizes Ratatouille in a way that you are not emotionally prepared for. You're like, what if this kung fu movie talked about Ratatouille and made you feel things? Deep down, real emotion. I absolutely love it. And then, so this movie's directed by a directing pair called the Daniels. They're both named Daniel. And what I like is it gives me an excuse to talk about their last movie, a movie that I like, and when I like recommending it to people because when I recommend it to them, they don't ask for a movie recommendation from me ever again.
Oh,
That it
geez.
that that in my understanding is this movie caused more people to walk out of the movie theater than like set records for it.
Really?
Is yeah. People are so this movie is called Swiss Army Man.
Okay.
I really like it. So Swiss Army Man stars Paul Dano and he's the priest in There Will Be Blood. He plays the Riddler in the new Batman movie. Fantastic actor. And Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter itself. So I don't want to spoil too much about this movie, so I'm just going to tell you about the opening scene, and
Hmm.
you can decide if you want. So I just love, like, I got one recommendation. I'm like, no, I got another recommendation to sneak right in here.
Classic Jesse.
Exactly. So, all right. So the movie opens, Swiss Army Man. Paul Dano is on like an abandoned beach on like a island in the middle of nowhere, sort of like Castaway style. And he is hanging. He's in the process of hanging himself and kind of giving up ever being rescued.
Okay.
And right as he's about to do it, he looks over and he sees a corpse wash up on shore and thinks, okay, instead of hanging myself, I better go see what's going on.
Okay.
So he
Yeah.
climbs down, right, makes sense. Climbs down,
Sure.
goes over, and it is the corpse of Daniel Radcliffe. And the corpse can talk, and so he talks to the dead corpse and he said discusses with the corpse. And then the corpse starts farting, and it farts so aggressively that Paul Dano rides the farting corpse of Harry Potter like a jet ski through the water. And then opening credits, Swiss Army Man. And then it gets weird after that.
how how did these movies get made?
That is a
Who
great
who
question.
hears that pitch and is like, "That's $100 million. Here you go." Because whoever that is, I wanna meet them and I
I
wanna pitch them on
So
something.
it's the
I got an
Daniels.
NFT for them.
Yeah, and so, they actually the way they talked about, because I, like, went down the rabbit hole after I saw this movie of how did this movie get made? Um, so the movie was based on, what if we made a movie made up of all the worst things that we hate? So, we hate, we hate acapella music. What if the entire soundtrack was nothing but acapella music? We hate, handcraft, papercraft dream sequences. What if we make whole segments of the movie about that? I hate, magical realism as it applies to using a corpse. So the name Swiss Army Man comes from the corpse of Daniel Radcliffe, who has a lot to say for a dead person,
Okay.
uh, being full of superpowers that can solve any problem.
Oh,
So
hmm.
that's the premise. But yeah, so Swiss Army Man, weird. Uh, Everything, everywhere, all at once, incredible, staggering work of creativity. Highly, highly recommended. I really, really, really loved it. Can't say enough good things.
As you were describing everything everywhere all at once, my brain was trying to piece together the mismatch of ideas you were giving, and
Hmm.
then you throw in the Swiss Army Man, and it's my
Hmm.
brain is just kinda like, "What the hell is going on in this world right now?" Like
It's that
like
is I mean, that's an evergreen tweet right there,
yeah,
but, we'll work our way around to it. All right,
okay.
Kyle, what do you got? You got something a little more mainstream for us, I hope, here.
Well, my show also had you had to work hard to understand it. I put Arrested Development in there, and the only reason I mean I love that show. It's a little dated probably now, but I was thinking about it yesterday as I do every May 4th because in that show there's a bit where season after season the town filled with pretentious white rich people throw a Cinco de Cuatro celebration for the purpose of using up all the Cinco de Mayo decorations. And just everything about that is as ridiculous as it sounds. But I always laugh at it because this obviously the Cinco de Cuatro just shows just how culturally unaware they were within the show, and it's a funny bit. The show itself is really funny. A lot of stars in it, and I don't know. Now that I've been talking about it, I might go back and rewatch seasons 1 through 3 again.
I mean, I love Arrested Development. I like that your recommendations vary wildly from "I'm horribly offended" to "No, I wanna steal that, and that's a Jesse that's what the show notes will just show 3 recommendations from Jesse
Just
now, one after Arrested Development seasons. Yeah, and it's seasons 1 through 3, and like The Godfather, anything after that, we pretend does not exist. And
I think season 4 so the thing is the show got taken off the air. There was a whole like little cult following that kind of
yeah,
got Netflix to take it back up. And just from the nostalgia aspect, I felt like season 4 and I think there was a season 5
I think so too.
would and again there was a big delay between 4 and 5. But just like cuz you you leave watching the show just wanting more, and after year after year after year, a desire grows and grows and grows until the forbidden fruit must be tasted. And so season 4 is not great, but just to fill that gap in your soul, it did a great job.
Yeah, it is I mean, if you don't know what we're talking about with Arrested Development, go ahead, pause this podcast right now, go watch seasons 1 through
Watch all
3.
three
We'll
all three
wait. We don't
seasons.
mind. We'll be right here waiting for you. Uh, Incredible show, phenomenal cast, just density of writing and density
Yeah,
of jokes. And it is this like little refractive diamond that just shines all the light back on itself.
yeah,
And so it takes one idea and then iterates and iterates and iterates and iterates and just spins kind of out of control. But yeah, cast is just phenomenal. I mean, this was like the breakout role for Michael Cena, or not Michael
hmm
Cena. Michael
uh,
Cera
yeah,
plays George Michael, the son of the main character, who's now I'm blanking on the cast name on. I should know this
Jason Bateman.
information. Yeah, Jason Bateman's fantastic as the lead.
hmm
Will Arnett plays his
Yeah,
brother Gob, the magician who demands to be taken seriously. Then there's his brother-in-law Tobias Funke, played by David Cross, who is
yep.
career-defining performance from him in the commitment knows no yeah I mean, and so it just sort of burrows into itself where all of its references are just to earlier things that happened in the show.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, yeah, highly recommend it. Really,
It's
really great
definitely
show.
one you can watch 3 or 4 times, and even on that 4th time watching it through, you're gonna pick up on jokes you
Hmm.
didn't catch the first time. The jokes are just
Yeah.
there's so many, and they're so nuanced and subtle,
Hmm.
that it's great writing.
All right, so my idea for an NFT project is it's all a series of banana stands, and you can burn them, and
There's
there's money
there's
in
money in the
there's always
banana
money in the
there's always
banana stand.
I
That's
love
always
if you're
good.
on, like, a random forum on the internet and obviously somebody just drops a "There's always money in the banana stand," and that's all they say.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk about SEC enforcement, so that's relevant to crypto these
Oh,
days
that's
too. So
true.
it's topical.
That's true.
As well as there's also, I find a great use of the GIF from the first episode with Jason Bateman talking to his son, and he says, you know what we always say is the most important thing, right? Breakfast." Oh
Breakfast.
no, I was going to say family.
Family.
Oh, I thought you meant of meals.
Oh,
Well,
so
Kyle,
good.
we could just sit here quoting Arrested Development to ourselves back and forth all day, but we probably maybe next week I'll recommend The Sopranos. Have you ever seen The Sopranos? That's a good
I
show
have
too.
not, no.
Oh, Kyle, what are we? Have you seen The Wire, Kyle?
No, I'm
Have you
laughing
seen
I'm laughing because I
Deadwood,
live in
Kyle?
Maryland, and The Wire, everyone talks about The Wire because it was Baltimore. Nope, nope, nope. All these
It's
things you're
weird
saying,
that
no.
people talk about the best TV show ever made. You would really enjoy, you're talking about recommending shows that require some work. That's what The Wire. All right, so to recap, Jesse recommends Everything Everywhere All at Once. Jesse recommends Swiss Army Man. Jesse recommends Arrested Development. Jesse recommends The Wire. Jesse recommends Sopranos. Um, what else? Kyle, have you ever heard of a movie called Citizen Kane? I think you would.
I have heard.
It's a talkie. It's,
He it's a
have you heard
talkie.
of The
He's got a
Godfather? I
cane,
think
right?
you'd enjoy that.
I have seen The Godfather,
You have seen, oh, okay, good.
and
Okay,
I
good.
did not enjoy it, honestly. Hey,
What?
can I say something? Can I? Oh, man, I don't know if I should say.
It's your
Maybe
podcast.
I'll let you think about whether or not you want it, because this might get us canceled. But I really just don't enjoy Star Wars movies. Can I say that? All
Thank
right.
you for joining us for the last episode of Neurotic Podcast. All right, hold on. Well, if we're gonna get this spicy, I think we should end the
All right,
show.
let's end the
And
show.
now I know what we're doing for the after show. So uh cue the outro music. And now, Kyle, tell me why you're wrong about Star Wars, I guess.
Well, you because I'm right. I think
Okay.
everyone is. I think Star Wars is one of those things that not many people actually truly like, but
Yeah.
they go along with the crowd.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be the crowd buster who,
Sure.
like Buster Bluth, little cross reference there.
Yeah, you're
Um,
gonna lose a hand is what's
yeah,
gonna happen here.
well, I think so.
Speaking of Star
I
Wars references, you're gonna get your hand cut off.
I picked the dumbest of the family members to compare myself to. No, I just don't find it all that
The
interesting.
blue part is land. Is that right? How
Is
I
that
read a map?
Oh, that's deep. Um, no, I just don't. I've watched what were the three originals? So it was at
Yeah.
4, 5, and 6, and
Yeah.
I've watched 1 and 2 more recently.
Yeah.
Maybe number 3 is gonna be. Actually, I think I only made it halfway through number 2,
Yeah,
episode
were you
2.
born without a soul, or was it surgically removed later during your
No, I
childhood?
mean, I was born early '80s, so I think I kind of
Mm.
missed the Star Wars. It's more Indiana Jones and more. I mean, honestly,
Indiana
teenage.
Jones is cut from, like, the same cloth.
No, they're different. They're
Yeah,
different.
one has a boulder and one has a Death Star. One floats in space and the other rolls, but besides that, so I would say, well, I mean, there's a lot of different Star Wars stuff, right? It's a weird thing because I used to love Star Wars back before it was Disney, back before it was, when it was still not exactly indie, but I mean, the first 3 original movies are really genre defining,
Yeah, I could see that.
films, and they, especially the first one, it's like application of um, Joseph Campbell's hero's tale to this science fiction universe
Hmm.
is so incredible and resonates. And so I think all of that is so amazing and the lasting impact of it. And then obviously, Return to the Empire is the good one. And then, a little step down with sort of a little more kid friendly. That's like this is a joke from How I Met Your Mother that there's the generational divide if you like Ewoks or what not Ewoks or Wookiees,
Hmm.
is the generational divide, and obviously you're a neither person is what we're establishing here. Yeah, no, Star Wars is great. I totally disagree.
So I'll even clarify. So I would be lukewarm towards them and be like, oh, they're decent, right? I can
Mhm.
I can watch one. But the so like a good example is maybe let's say 20. It was 2015. So whatever new Star Wars was coming out in 2015,
Yeah,
I was working with a person. They were superior to me. They had Star Wars figurines all over their office. The
yeah,
new whatever that episode was that was coming out in 2015 was coming out. They're all excited, and I kind of like say, yeah, yeah, I'm not really that into Star Wars. Just it's not a big deal to me. And like, I mean, that person like hated me from
yeah,
there. And that's my
yeah,
thing about Star Wars fans is that they're so committed to it that they're just not like the idea that somebody is only just lukewarm about it, which only makes me want to go even further to where I want to hate the thing, just
yeah.
because I feel like I got to even out this seesaw. So
I'm
that's where
just
I'm at.
glad that we don't have people that react that strongly in crypto. If you were to
Right.
say something like, I don't like this chain," or
Right.
something
Right.
like that. So I get that. I think that outward, dogmatic adherence, that, like, "How can you not love this?" I mean, that is literally
Yeah.
the issue when a lot of people in crypto talk about the crypto space. No,
Yeah.
I think the first 3 are amazing. The prequels are their own kind of difficult thing, and then the sequel trilogy is very problematic in my opinion, and a lot of these
Mm.
things are really kind of extracting money out of,
Yeah.
the various, but there is a lot of baby with the bathwater there too. So I would also put out and say that, some of the one-off movies, I thought Rogue One was fantastic. I really, really liked Rogue One a lot, and that's like a war, sort of like a Star Wars war movie set inside the Star Wars universe, so like a genre
Mm.
film playing with the traditions of it. But
Okay.
so much of Star Wars is built from, it's a remix in terms of the way it puts together these pieces. So like Star Wars in so many ways is like a Kurosawa film, right?
Mm.
It's pulling in the Kurosawa, it's a World War II movie.
Yeah.
It's pulling in from like Flash Gordon serials and all those pieces and putting them together in that Joseph Campbell hero's journey framework that really delivers. Now, Vader is German for father. So whether or not that is a huge reveal or not is sort of
Wait,
remains to
what?
be seen.
No, just kidding.
Sorry, spoiler alert for for a
For a
50-year-old
50-year-old
movie.
movie.
Um, yeah, I think it's okay, but to love or not love, and then, there's, like, the new TV shows and things like that, so, like,
Mhm.
that new Boba Fett show was not good, and I thought, I mean, this is here's this, you saying you don't like Star Wars will get you in less trouble than the hot take. So this is what I'm gonna do, a service for you. I'm gonna put out a Star Wars opinion here that is gonna get so much more hate than what you just said, which is, I thought The Mandalorian was fine. It's good. It's good. It's good. I like it. But everyone else will be like, "This is the best TV show ever made. It is, the best piece of media ever." And I'm like, "It's good. It's fine. I like it. Jon Favreau did a nice job. It's no swingers, but I like it, you know? So it's, but yeah, hot take on the Star Wars right here.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, let's move to something less, well, I guess equally hot.
Equally hot. Well, we were gonna take a look. We're gonna
Because
look at
I
some of
want you to
the
tell me, yeah, my rarities here. I got some
yeah, let's
tacos.
let's look let's do some little with some after show taco chat here. So you sent over, let me pull them up here. So I was gonna let you dig in here. I'm sending you, I'll trade you. You're sending me a screenshot of all the tacos you've minted,
Yep.
and I'm sending you the canonical rarity spreadsheet that I
Yep,
used to
I
build
got it.
out all the
Yeah.
rarities. So you can see all the different layers in there, as well as all the numbers in there. You're seeing the percentage of, so that percentage of the total collection will contain each of those attributes in each category.
Okay.
So, in backgrounds, I think I have 27 different backgrounds of various, some of them are 1% all the way up to like
Mm.
6%. And then tortillas, much smaller collection of 7 tortillas. Meats, we
Oh,
have,
snap.
let's
I
see,
actually have both there's only 2 space, and I think I have them both. I
well,
hope.
2%.
Oh, those are percentage. Oh, I
Those are
guess that makes sense.
percentages.
Okay.
Yeah. No, there's not just that
I've
would be good
cornered the
though. That
market on
would
space tacos.
you'd be like, "This is really rare. This is one of one tera." No, yeah. So those are percentage. So, like, the very rarest assets when you get over to the sides are like a half percentage,
Okay.
is the rarest
So
asset. And
tacocidal stickers, what is that? Is that,
you've got those. Those are the taco settles. They're called slaps, I think, in the metadata,
they're like the
but that's
little
the
white
stack of, yeah, those are the little stack of stickers. I think you've got one of those.
stack of sticker oh, I see. It's like a little like, with a skeleton with a top hat.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got 3 of those. Oh, that
Yeah,
was
you
pretty
gotta
lucky
those are
there.
you minted a, I'm a little jealous. You minted a bunch of rares here.
But
Uh,
I didn't get the Jason and Kyle podcast.
well,
I gotta
that's
get that. I'll
that's a
be
real
minting a
one of
ton.
one.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
I hope I get one of those. But yeah, you've got some other cool ones. You've got
it's
the space background, which is hot. I love the space
yeah, I do
background.
love that, yeah.
You've got, so the Motoko pinatas, those come in 4 different flavors, and you have the rarest of them, which is the pink Motoko. You've also got the green Motoko, that looks good. You've got the Bitcoin flower pinata,
Yeah.
and you've got the J Gold. So there are a whole bunch of Los Angeles
So
little,
who's Jay Gold? I'm assuming that's the Hitchcock,
that sort of Hitchcock outline with a little
yeah.
reserve sign. So Jay Gold was a really famous food critic in San Francisco. He wrote for, or sorry, not San. Yeah, Jay Gold was a really famous food critic in Los Angeles. He wrote for LA Weekly and later the LA Times, and really dug into the culture of food and specifically taco trucks. And so a famous quote from him is, "The taco honors the truck," which I always thought was super
Ah.
good. So Jay Gold has said many quotable things about tacos. I'll pull up a few other choice quotes here.
Oh, I need to scroll oh, there it I was looking for the sides, for to see what this, my Motoko pinata things are. Man, I'm really impressed with just how many different, um, attributes you have for your tacos. I mean,
So
here we
here's a, I'll give you some good. I love his
81
writing.
81 sides.
Yeah. Uh, Entire religions have been founded on miracles less profound than the ensenada fish taco. I think that's a good one. My theory is that taco eating it's almost a verb. Taco should be a verb. The tortilla's hot, the meat's hot, they combine. The sauce is sloshed on it, and you're almost eating it in one continuous motion from the way it comes from the grill to the guy to the counter. I know it's overly romantic.
Yeah, wow, this is almost borderline erotic. We might have to put
And
it explicit.
tacos. Can we ever have enough tacos in our lives? I don't think so. Because when the taco is right, the birds start to sing and the stars shine more brightly, and you have the impression that everything is right with the world, which happens a lot for a buck and a quarter, a buck 50 tops. A perfect taco is a gift to the universe.
Oh, man, this guy was quite the writer.
Your
Hey,
favorite truck is as much a part of your identity as your favorite ranchera singer.
oh,
Yeah,
and the
fantastic food
J
writer. I
Gold,
really,
so the J Gold is only 0.5%.
yep. So all the LA, there's a bunch of little LA stuff in there. Almost all the LA stuff is extra rare. Let's see what else. What else is in the Kyle collection? You've got a Taco Bell fire hot sauce. That's a nice one. I like that. You've got, yeah, you got a bunch of the taco saddle. You got 3 of the taco saddle stickers. You've got a lot. I've minted a few, and I did not mint anything as rare as, like, your entire collection. So I want the Kyle luck here. This is great.
I'm just looking through your sides here. So I see there's a neurotic pod side.
Mhm.
That's not what you've shown me, right? Or is it?
That is no, that's it. Yeah,
Oh,
so all
okay,
the
okay.
sides so the side is everything that shows up in that little bottom right corner,
I
that
see.
attribute right there, that's the side.
So the Jason and Kyle podcast
Yep.
that's 1%, or is that a one of one?
No, that's a 1%. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So, because I was just thinking, I really want that. When you showed it to me, I was like, "Oh, I really want that. I bet you I can buy it from somebody for some sort of markup." But then once we talked about the fact that it had the mistake that Jason and Kyle, I was like, "Nope, this is now
No.
going to be worth a
Now it's
lot."
ultra rare. No,
Yeah.
they all say Jason and Kyle. So,
Okay.
there's 2 different taco trucks. You've got the blue one, which is a little bit rare, and then you've got the space. So, like, you've got one here with space and the J Gold. That is gonna be a very
Woo!
rare taco right there.
I'm
And so
holding
I'm
that
very
one.
excited. So, I mean, this is what's so cool. So, using the Entrepot tool, I uploaded all the layers, but, they're all being minted completely randomly, and so I'm excited, just like everyone else, to see what comes out of it. And
Oh,
in some of my sample mints, what I've really enjoyed is seeing the color stories that come out of different ones. So
okay.
when you get a background that matches the salsa in, like, a really cool way. So we've got the salsas in different greens. There's an orange habanero one that can really pop, and so the different pieces line up for some really cool color matching. So, like, your pink
I was
Matoko,
just
like,
saying, yeah,
matches the tablecloth, the oilcloth there. Yeah, you
yeah,
got a
yeah.
cool
You kind of
tie-dye
blends in.
background. You got a lot of cool ones here. I like them. I'm jealous of what you've
Well,
minted here.
I'll definitely be minting more tomorrow because I got to get a neurotic pod one. So I've always wondered that. So are you going to have a rarity score
Yeah.
on your tacos?
So
And I guess
I
Entrepot takes
I
care of that,
actually
or
don't yeah, so I don't generate the rarity score, I just generate the metadata, and so
okay.
that generates it, and then the actual tacos themselves, the individual sites like NFT Geek or DCDG, they calculate using their own algorithms, and
Mm,
I have read a bunch about rarity scores, and the answer is there's 100 different ways. I mean,
yeah,
this is,
yeah,
like, now we're getting into, like, your, like,
like
actual
stats.
expertise here, that there's 100 different ways to calculate rarity. There's 100 different ways to do it. And so my goal with the way I assigned the traits was cool traits were rarer and then
Right.
other stuff was broader. Although there was like one or two things that I was like, I know this should be rare, but I just can't bear that not enough people will get it. And so there's a Definity logo pinata that I was like, we have to go 2% on this. It's
Oh
so,
yeah, yeah.
so beautiful. We have to make a few more of those available.
Because I've noticed that on Entrepot, the number of there's been a lot less. You know how like sometimes it'll actually list the rarity on the NFT when you're looking
Mhm.
at it. Is your tacos going to have that, or it seems like that hasn't been anything that hasn't been a thing that they've done on recent launches.
It should be. I mean,
Okay,
my goal is transparency and making all the data available to everybody and letting people sort through them. And so the idea was to create a huge range of rarities because what's really going to make things the most rare is lining up
multiple, yeah,
multiple different rare traits, one after another. Because,
yeah.
in the tortillas, there's only one really rare, which is the gold tortilla and
Ooh.
that's extra sparkly. And then with the salsas, there's only one salsa that's really rare. But then when you get to the sides, there's a huge spread of rarities.
Well, this is really. I think credit credit belongs to Taco Seidel for his artwork. I think this
So
collection is
talented.
awesome. Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited. I just have been really it's been really hard for me not to like constantly post pictures to everybody of all the different tacos because I'm so excited
I,
about all the art. I kept on posting pictures, but I was like, well, I just want them to be like because I want that surprise and delight of like opening a present and
yeah,
seeing what you got and people being like, being like what we did with showing you
yeah. I'm
how
surprised
you
you held
learned
that
that
for me.
I wanted it to be on air, and then I really got my wish of a live reaction way more truthfully than I was expecting. So
No, that's good podcasting right there. No, this is awesome. And again, I'm gonna mint until I get my neurotic pod
this is a lot of
taco.
pressure for me to mint your NFT now too, I guess. So it's fair is
No, you
fair.
don't have to. You don't have to. I
Gotta.
mean,
I'm gonna mint them all and then raise the floor price, and I'm gonna. This is a real arbitrage
uh,
opportunity.
you're gonna buy them all just so that the portal has no one in it, and then you're gonna still make me do all the work
Oh, you want to hear Kyle's alpha? You got to
because
go
you got to
through
really go.
me.
These are now 1 month. You get it for a month, and then I take it back.
Yeah, yeah.
39
Listen,
ICP for a month.
it's 1 ICP per word for the essay that Kyle wrote, and you can just have
Okay.
as much essay as you want, but there's just be warned, there's a lot of throat clearing at the top here. So,
Well, no, this is awesome. Well done, man. How's it feel? How's it feel to have launched a collection?
I am excited to have it out in the world. I found 1,000 little details I'd like to change now, but that's not really an
No,
option with
no,
the
yeah.
blockchain. Everything lives forever. So that Jason and Kyle, they are that is written in the blockchain forever. So that's I think we'll just have to. It's probably easier to change my name to
You
Jason
you
at
might
this
wanna just
point
be Jason,
than it
yeah.
would be. Yeah.
I'm gonna call you Jason from now on.